Welcome back, Truth Seeker. I want to go over some of the headlines from August 3rd and one that has also broken today, August 4th, about a death from yesterday, August 3rd. But again, just this pattern that we've taught about for so long that really should have awakened all the English speaking masses by now about celebrity death and ritual and 38. And also 8-3. August 3rd can be written 8-3 or 3-8, but these are numbers related to death. And we teach about why again and again. But on this day, you get Simone Biles. She wins the bronze, and she reveals afterwards that her aunt died unexpectedly 2 days before, on August 1st. But the news of the death on the day where we said, just look out for it. And Michael Jai White did a interview over the weekend with Vlad TV and revealed that his son died at age 38 from COVID. That didn't make any mainstream headlines until yesterday, August 3rd. Then all the mainstream reports it that his son died at 38. They had to wait for the 3/8 date to report. And the news came here. Look, Michael Jai White. This is how easy it is to reveal these things. Michael Jai White, his birthday is November 10th, right? November 10th. So look at this. From November 10th, 2020, his last birthday, to yesterday when the news was revealed about his 38-year-old son, they waited until exactly 38 weeks after his birthday, right? 266 days as well. We know what that's about. He's Sus Hominum Salvator. But 38 weeks. 38 weeks, 3/8 dates, son dead at 38. The mainstream could have reported it over the weekend. He revealed it over the weekend. And the other thing is people are going, did he even really have a 38-year-old son? He's only 53. And he said, in the article, he said that he had his son when he was 15 and they've been like best friends growing up. And if you've been here as a veteran, when I first began this research, in the early days, I only knew two ciphers, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. But years ago, I was pointing about how they'd mention 15 alongside 38. Because when you write out 15, it equals 38. And, with regards to yesterday and entertainers in 38, you have the music producer Kahan dead at 56. This is in the news today. This news broke today, August 4th, but the news is that she died yesterday, August 3rd. And just look at her entertainer name, Kahan, 38, in the most simple cipher like death. And again, if you're new here, the four base ciphers, the alphabetic order and alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the green cipher, the blue cipher, the same ciphers I've taught from the beginning, from 2013, when I first learned about this through Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. The reverse alphabetic order is something we caught on to as a community in 2016 and have been proving its relevance ever since. But K-hand and death is the exact same in all four ciphers, forwards and backwards. And most of the headlines are like this. For more than 25 years, Detroit DJ and producer, blah, 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 K-hand. But notice, dead on 3/8, August 3rd, 3/8, 25 years in the business. You see like the 97 up there, Biggie equals, Notorious equals 97. He died in 97. 97 is the 25th prime number. Tupac died the year earlier at age 25. We just saw the supposed Tupac friend Gonzo die in a car like Tupac, supposedly, 25 weeks after his birthday. We just talked about that days ago, plus everything else to that. But Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. both died on 38 date numerologies, and just so much more. Just all these numbers you see on the screen up there for death, they all get used, but we teach about 38 and 83 more than any other because they're always the most obvious. And, making the case all the more clear, yesterday on August 3rd, supposedly a shooting of a police officer killed him. A fatal shooting of a police officer outside the Pentagon. That was news on August 3rd. DC's on the 38th parallel, and Pentagon equals 38 in Gematria. And again, the song Murder by Numbers came out by the band The Police in 83. Yesterday's date can be written 8-3. Murders 83. A police officer murdered on the 38th parallel outside the 38 building, the nation's War Department, which is the military murder center. Military murder, they don't both start with M by accident. Because essentially, military in war is legalized killing, right? Legalized murder. Killings. Look at all the words that equal 38 in Gematria. Killing, death, R.I.P. They're all 38. Look up the song Gematria, the killing name, Gematria 38, English 38. The band Slipknot did that song. The first member to die, Paul Gray, died at age 38. The latest member to die just died last week, Joey Jordison, on a 38 date numerology. Again, the examples are always relevant. When I'm teaching about 38, I don't ever have to look back, usually more than a week or two, to give another prime example of a celebrity meeting the 38 fate. If it's not a 38 date numerology, it's 38 days from their birthday, or it's 3/8. Or it's Michael Jai White's son at 38 on 3/8 the news 38 weeks after his birthday. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how many people you can show this to in America, like a presentation like this, and they'll be like, dude, that's so stupid. I can't even believe that he thinks that means anything. And you're just like, wow. It's weird how many people have that, response to something that's definitely, if you have any real intelligence, if you're just not, your brain's just not all cognitive dissonance. So many people's brains are full of this idea that, there's no such thing as any kind of conspiracy. It's just how can people have that? That's not a logical thought. Conspiracies are a very real thing. Conspiracies are when two or more people agree to do something to take advantage of another or another group of people. That happens all the time, all over the world, on all sorts of different levels. To think that there's occult societies working by ancient knowledge and that's some wacky idea is to show that you're ignorant of the world. That's what secret societies are into, all this ancient knowledge. And historically, the reason it became secret societies, if you study why these societies exist, is because the world shunned this type of knowledge in the past. So then it became exclusive, not to be shared with the swine. So again, anytime you meet one of those people that acts like that, which is a lot of people, just realize what you've encountered is a swine. That's why all things are a gift and a curse. You might lose a lot of people in your life for sharing this knowledge because they'll reject it and act like you're crazy. But what you've learned actually is that that's another swine. And there's not really another way to put it. That's who these people are. These people are the swine scum that are all dragging us to the bottom with their ignorance and their holier-than-thou righteousness. They're the characters straight out of 1984. That's why the motto in that book is ignorance is strength. That's pretty much 90% of America and probably the world's, way of operating at this point. They think they're strong because they're ignorant. And even just how they had to do the murder by numbers. Sandra Bullock's the big star in the film, and her name's 83, right? So, again, just so many examples just from yesterday. But with regards to the news breaking today about this entertainer, K-Hand, that she died yesterday, but the news is today, and she's from Detroit, it just reminds me that a year ago, on this day, August 4th, 2020, the day Beirut blew up, blamed on the fireworks, it reminds me that a year ago today in Chicago, there was a rapper gunned down, and they said he was gunned down at 4:40 p.m. local time. And on 44's birthday, right? And since then, number 44 has put out his book, A Promised Land, on November 17, 2020, the day leaving 44 days left in the year. And again, the fatal shooting last year at 4:40. But now we get a musician out of Detroit, right? She died August 3rd, but the news breaks today. It's international news, even though I don't think she was the biggest musician, but it's international news. They're covering her in Europe. They're covering her in the U.S. They want you to know about this woman who died at 56 of all ages, of all dates. And but there's a lot here, but this is the thing that why people really need to wake up to what I'm saying and why the swine need to snap out of it. This woman's best-known work came out in 94, a year I've been talking a lot about, Bill and Melinda Gates' big year, and she put out her big single was in 94. It was called Global Warning. Okay? Global Warning, right? In 94. And notice, when you just run the alphabetic order in reverse, Global Warning is 216, right? Very special number in itself. But here we are on the 216th day of the year, and we have international news, global news about a relatively small artist's death. But notice Wikipedia's already got it all filled out. But notice also what it is about August 4th. 216, right? 216, 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. There's 666 stuff going on all around us right now with the policies that are being made for humanity, as we've been discussing, as I've written a book about. And where does 666 taught about in the Bible? It's taught about in the last book, Revelation. And today leaves 149 days left in the year, right? Revelation 149. You know? Global warning, Revelation 666, the mark which you must have if you want to buy or sell. Or a lot of people having to make a choice right now if they want to do something, if they want to maintain their job, their way of life, the ability to travel, go to a show, a concert, a game, their favorite store, their favorite restaurant. Okay, I know that the vaccine doesn't go on your hand or your forehead. But if we have a group, a cabal that's mocking the world by a biblical code, do they have to do every last detail? I mean, is not simulating the pandemic dead on 666 days before they declare it, and then the HR 666, and then the new patented technology from big tech with the 666, and how all of this stuff fits in with what's going on right now with the pandemic? This isn't enough to make you go, well, maybe that is what they're doing. I guess you do have to take it if you want to buy or sell. I guess that's kind of the crucial point. Your body has to be violated, you know? Your body has to be violated. And realize for a lot of you to go like a mall, you've been having your forehead scanned, you know, scanning your forehead where the mark's supposed to be read from. And realize if we're in the beginning of something that goes on for a long time, that eventually gets us to something that is a lot like the mark, and maybe eventually that is what you got to do. You got to get your 666 stamped so that they can know that you're healthy. You're like, well, I really don't want to do that, but man, I really like, you know, my Friday night movie and trip to the mall and going to the game every now and then, so I guess if everybody else is doing it. But, I mean, seriously, guys, global warning. And then again on Obama's birthday, right? Not to mention she was 56 and Obama won the 56th presidential election. That's the big Jesuit number. Her song came out in 94, Roman Catholic Church 94, coronavirus pandemic 94, dead at 56, coronavirus 56, global warning, you know. And I mean, I got to point out, she's a black woman in Detroit, right? Predominantly black city on the 42nd parallel where Motown came out in 59. And if you're a veteran, you know what all that means. But again, who are they targeting the most with the vaccine? Who are they saying needs to get to the most? The people with darker complected skin. There'd never be another Tuskegee. Remember, Tuskegee, there were 201 people in the control group. 201's the big number with the Jesuits. You know, last year we were pointing out in the FBG duck death coverage that the NBC news clip, they had to show, this is while they're covering their story, this is right from their YouTube page, they have to show you building 201 in the background. Again, we're saying who's behind all this is the Jesuits. 201's a number of theirs. 56 is a number of theirs. 84 is a big number of theirs. In the headlines, it broke last night, they're using it today. Cases of COVID up 84% among U.S. children. It's like, come on, man. United States of America, 84, Jesuit, 84. I mean, just fear propaganda by a code. And that's why everyone needs to learn this, to see how we are being manipulated, you know? And I've explained that from the beginning crystal clear. We're being manipulated. We're being taken for the wrong kind of ride, and we need to get off the ride, and we need to see who's doing it to us, hold them accountable, and make sure they don't do it to us anymore. That's all that can be achieved through the knowledge of this language and paying attention to what's really going on in the world. You know, I didn't start with gematria. I started with understanding what's going on, realizing that these people work in ritualistic form. There's something to numbers. It took a long time to figure it out the way we have it figured out now, but now it's just so obvious. It's so obvious, man. I've been on the 38 death thing since 2013 teaching about it. Just all these examples yesterday. But look at this. Coming back to this musician. Again, dead at 56, dead on 3/8. She got the wrong entertainer name. And this is what I mean about entertainers who sign deals, you know. It doesn't even seem like you have to sign the biggest deal. If you're signing deals with these companies to throw some money at you and they want you to take a certain name, like was that the name that she wanted, K-Hand, or did they say, hey, you know what, Kelly, We like Kelly Hand is K Hand. How do you feel about that? Just if you like that, you just sign right there. The check's yours. Is that how it is for K Hand? Was she K Hand before she signed the deal? I mean, I don't know. She might have been. It could also be unlucky. It could be unlucky. But still know your numbers. If she got invited over to some party, she got invited over to some party that she was surprised, like, oh, I haven't heard from you in forever. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is on August 3rd, and hold on, I know my gematria, and wait a minute. Maybe I'm going to skip that invitation. But, yeah, just all this, 94. Been talking left and right about 94, left and right about 56. We know all about 216, 666. But I mean, really, the news on this day, you guys. And that's what I say. This is what we see again and again. These entertainers, the thing that they're known for. That was her number one song all time. When they die, it's like the ritual's almost clearly with that. So they get her the day before so that she can be in the headlines the day of this. Clockwork, man. Clockwork. It's really sick. And again, on Obama's birthday, who won the 56th election, with the 8-4 birthday, Jesuit 84. She's from Detroit, Detroit 44, number 44. Last year, the shooting at 440. And here's the other thing. Kelly Hand, her birth name, 76, like Negro Slave Blues Rasta, like Barack Obama, like his new book, A Promised Land, that again came out November 17th last year, the day leaving 44 days left in the year. Acts 7:6, about 400 years of slavery. Acts is the 44th book of the Bible. The Million Man March, October 16th, 95, the day leaving 76 days left in the year. And again, 95, the reflection of 59, like Motown came out in Detroit in 59, slave, Negro, blues, Rasta. See, look at how all these words, forwards and backwards, just alphabetic order, forwards, backwards. Slave, Negro, blues, Rasta. You think of a rapper like Royce da 5'9". He's from Detroit, right? Detroit's on the 42nd parallel. Motown came out in 59. Obama's Secret Service name was Renegade. That's 59, but it's not 76 in reverse. It's 157 in reverse, which is interesting because United States has that 157. And United States of America is 84, and his birthday is 84. There's a lot to Obama's name. But yeah, I think her death has something to do with Obama too. Just like FBG Duck's death last year seemed to have something to do with Obama. And again, 440 on 44's birthday in Chicago. That's where it was last year, where he's from. Detroit's not too far from Chicago. Yeah, I did that trip by car when I was back there about 10 years ago. So they're not that far from each other. Yeah, so RIP to this person. And then again, Simone Biles yesterday, the news breaks that her aunt died. They had to save her 3A, but look at this. Look at this. Because I'm gonna tell a story about college here. And again, I've told it before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's what I see in this story. So this is yesterday. They said her mom died on, or not her mom, her aunt. And by the way, you guys, just with the aunt thing, look at this. Aunt's 56, right? Like bronze medal, number of the year. Black Lives Matter 56. Her aunt's dead, the news the day of the bronze medal. And we're going to talk more about that bronze medal and who she lost to. But again, 3/8, August 3rd, the news breaks. And they said that the aunt died August 1st. That's the 213th day of the year. Number connected to death, number connected to Black History. Might actually be Black History Month. I wrote Black History equals. It's actually Black History Month. Black History Month's 213. And we've talked about this pattern with 213, death in Black history. We always go to the Tupac Shakur example. All Eyes on Me came out February 13th. He died 213 days later. The movie All Eyes on Me starts with his mom, the Black Panther, 213. Just a number that gets stamped in a lot of ways on black history. So we're talking about Simone Biles, one of the greatest gymnasts ever, who is black, who's an American, who will be probably celebrated in Black History Month for as long as humanity goes on in the future, for her amazing accomplishments. But, this year was different. Normally she's unstoppable, wins everything. She's like Serena Williams at the beginning of her career. But now she's got mental health problems, and then so she takes a back seat, and the Asian girl who went to Auburn and who was an Auburn Tiger wins gold on International Tiger Day. What a coincidence, is the Detroit Tigers cruising, winning their game. And it was the same thing last year with all the Tiger symbolism. But then who does Simone Biles lose to? She loses to two Asian girls, right? And again, it's the year of a lot of focus on Asian Americans and Asian athletics, especially with the PGA this year. Asian golfer wins the PGA big tournament, the Masters in Georgia, just weeks after the Georgia shootings targeting Asians in a riddle that we saw coming before the tournament began. When the odds were still 40-1, and just understanding how scripted it all is. But the other thing I'm realizing is, wow, it's pretty much 20 years later already. And it might not quite be 20 years. We might still have 1 or 2 more years until it's exactly 20 years. But when I was in college, I think it was my junior year. So I started college in August of 2001. So, it was the end of August. So it's almost to the 20-year anniversary of me starting college. But it wouldn't have been my junior year. So I think we're still 2 years away. But I see the symbolism of what's going on. Again, I had a professor, Brad Forst, and from what I see, he's teaching at Arizona State again. He took time away to go back to the private sector, but it looks like he's teaching there again. But Brad Forst, he asked our class to write a paper. Who will be the world's superpower in 20 years and why? And the day after he looked at everyone's papers, he had a response to our class. He said, there's only one person in here who got it right. And I knew right then it must be me, because I wrote why China was going to be the superpower in 20 years. And because they own so much of our debt and getting more and more and more and more of our assets. And I said, essentially, how can we be the superpower if they own our nation? And that's the way it's all taught if you actually read, The Economist, because that's more of the stuff I was doing at that time. I was in business school and just reading more, you have to read all these periodicals and mainstream articles. And if you're reading that and paying attention, though, you should come to the logical conclusion that the U.S. is fucked if something doesn't change. But see, even though we all have the same information, everybody in the class wrote that the U.S. is going to be the world's superpower because they're brainwashed, programmed, robotic retards, where probably had they been in other classes, they would have been told they were right. But, Brad Forst said, no, there's nothing about the United States that it's doing right now that shows that it's going to be the superpower in 20 years. We are a nation in decline. And he was a professor. I don't even know if I should say all this out on, but he was a professor that I could talk to about stuff. He understood. He thought that 9/11 was all kind of suspicious. And there weren't that many people like that down in Arizona where I was at the time. But again, you just see it right now in just, the big focus on Asians in America this year. And again, all of this stuff is symbolic. It's all ritual. If you missed the work we did on Matsuyama's Masters win, you better go back and watch it. You better go back and watch that and see how mind-blowing the riddle is to understand how important all this is. His win is literally synced up with the governor of Georgia perfectly, the prime minister of Japan perfectly, and the emperor of Japan perfectly, all pointing to what the big theme is, World War II. And the history of Pearl Harbor. Just like how in the last major golf tournament, the Japanese-American golfer had won, Colin Morikawa, who just won in a tournament where we thought he had a great shot to win the Open in the UK before it even began. But he won last year on the bombing of Nagasaki. And the point I'm making, you guys, is this stuff is all ritual, athletics, Olympics, major golf tournaments, world history. It's all symbolic, and they're telling us about what's happening. You're seeing more influence, more positive influence for Asian Americans, because that's what has to be introduced to America as it's going to become more of a nation that serves Asian nations. It's already been that. A lot of it, people don't even notice. They're like, oh, I didn't notice. But it's like you drive through tolls. 10 years ago, when I was driving through tolls in the Midwest, those tolls, the majority of the funds coming in are going to Asian governments because they're actually having more management over infrastructure and stuff, just because they own so much of our debt. If you look into what's really going on in this nation, again, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's always been this way because it's a New World Order creation, but you can just see like who's getting more and more of the percentages in the New World Order, plot. So here you are at the beginning of 2021. And remember what happened last year, big Jesuit death in Japan, right before the Olympics in Japan, these Japanese golfers, Japanese and Japanese American dominating. We're living out planned rituals. Her whole thing about, I mean, and think about this, you guys. You mean to tell me she was having a mental breakdown, right? She was having a mental breakdown, and then her aunt died. And then after her aunt died, well, I guess it's possible. But her aunt dying just out of nowhere is what snapped her out of it and made her want to go compete again. I mean, I guess that could happen, but or maybe yeah, again, we don't exactly know what's going on behind the scenes, but here, let me make some more point about Simone Biles, about how all orchestrated this is. And we even said the day that the whole mental health, if you weren't here the day the mental health news broke, it was a big 59 ritual with Simone Biles. And what's interesting is gymnastics is also 59, but that was 27-7, 277, the 59th prime. The girl who ended up winning gold, who's the Auburn Tiger, Tiger 59, and she won it on Tiger Day. But look at this. Simone Biles, right? From her Pi Day birthday, March 14th, to her aunt's death, which was August 1st, that was 140 days. Gymnastics has the gematria of 140, also 59. And the death was on August 1st, again, 8-1. We call 81 the ritual number. And again, just the news coming the day of the bronze medal, which happens to equal 56, just this big theme this year after she's this big story. And then, for her, bronze isn't that great, right? She's the one that just collects golds. So, but she got her medal for the 2021 Olympics after a lot of drama and an unexpected death of an aunt, and then coincidentally, it just all works out this way. And again, the girl she lost to is only 16 years old, from China. Gold in gematria. Notice, I mean, people win gold on all sorts of different dates, but the August 3rd gold is interesting because gold is 38, right? Gold's also 16 like the girl who won. And the girl who just won, she won 53 days before her September 25th birthday. That's the 16th prime number. So at age 16, 53 days before her birthday. 53 is this number associated with the feminine. I cover that in my first book, 53 in the feminine, gymnastics. I mean, they go both ways, but most people would associate that more with the feminine. Grace, beauty. But there's definitely strength and all sorts of things. Focus, concentration, balance. I mean, mind-blowing sport, truly. I know if I ever had to get on a balance beam, it would be the most embarrassing day of my life. I mean, it's amazing the things they do on there. It's like, wow, they train to, I mean, that is perfection. So, anyway, respect to anybody who does that, but, woo. This girl who won it, to me, it looks like she was born for gold. She was born September 25th, 2004. That's a date with 58 date numerology, but also a date with 38 numerology, right? She ends up winning gold on this date, beating Simone Biles after her mental breakdown and the loss of her aunt, which lines up perfectly with the bronze medal. And keep in mind, what's funny, right before these Olympics, how they just released the movie about Tonya Harding. Tonya Harding, Pacific Northwest figure skater, supposedly her ex broke Nancy Kerrigan's knee with some sort of weapon. They just made a movie about that, though, and what the movie's really about is kind of like psychological trauma from, having a scorned single mother. It's like, hey, I wonder how many people are living that experience now that I think of it. But yeah, anyway, if you haven't seen that movie, it's also all about politics and how even though she's the best skater at these competitions, they won't give her the winning score because she comes from a white trash family where she's skating against all these girls from rich families who have families, the traditions in the sport. Tonya Harding just happens to be this young, phenomenal skater with all this talent, but just not from the right, not from the right lot, so can't get the recognition. She's considered white trash. But yeah, again, just introducing, just how in these competitions with judges, how political it can be, and it doesn't even really matter who's the best. It's kind of the big theme of the film, and how maybe all of that over the years also built up to why, she comes from a group that would trash Nancy Kerrigan's knee, this rich girl who's in the figure skating world who's considered her competition. But, yeah, Sweet Lady likes to watch movies. So I'd say like at least once a week, Sweet Lady and I will watch a movie together. And we watched that one some months back. And the mom, the actress who plays the mom, ooh, man, you don't want a mom like that. But she does a good job playing that character, I gotta say that. So, but yeah, again, just August 3rd, we caught this over the weekend because it was on Vlad TV. But again, all the mainstream reported this story. They saved the death of Michael Jai White's son at age 38 for the 3/8 date. And again, from his November 10th birthday, Michael Jai White, born November 10th, from his birthday to the news being released August 3rd, exactly 38 weeks on the nose. So, was his son really his best friend? It just makes you wonder. It's like, God, man, if your son's your best friend, would you really give up? How many people in this world? It seems like a lot of them are doing it. There's just a part of me that wants to hope, like, okay, maybe he never really had this son, and they just made it up for the tragic story just to get the emotional, toll it's going to take, or if that's the last drop in the bucket for the person who's like, man, should I get this vaccine? Man, I'm 38. I better go out, Or again, are these people just like, well, if you're going to give me all that, I guess, I love my son for 38 years, but all right, let's go. I'm ready for the next level. Because Michael Jai White, he's a guy who's already kind of made a scene. He's a big, strong guy, action hero. Is he about to, is he going to be one of these actors who really starts making a lot of movies as he gets older? There are a lot of actors that come out of nowhere, like 40s, even late 40s, early 50s, and it's like, wow, they did a lot of movies out of nowhere. Just became a hit actor. So, and maybe they had a 38 story we didn't catch along the way. I've only known about this for so long, but it's just so. And was he not supposed to talk about this on? Maybe he screwed up. Maybe he was not supposed to talk about this on Vlad TV until the news broke 2 days later, right? Maybe he jumped the gun. He was given the plot, the story he's got to get out there, go along with. What if that's how it is? He's an actor. Is there anyone in the world who knows Michael Jai White who can tell us if he really had a 38-year-old son? Again, I don't know how much of this is make-believe and how much of it is true murder ritual. I do think these people are doing both, though. I do. And the thing is, at the end of the day, even if every last thing they did was fake and no one was really dying, even if that was the ultimate truth, which I don't think it is, it would still be sick. The fact that they're out here tormenting us with death and trying to scare us into things every day by a code, it's almost just as bad. If you're actually killing people, that's definitely sick and worse. But still, tormenting people with false news to get the same type of reaction, almost as bad. So, I don't know. Where's the critics at, man? Really? We always talk about the police and murder by numbers, and then on 3/8 on the 38th parallel outside the Pentagon, you got a police murder story? Just how? How? How many times this movie poster and the lesson on 3883? And this comes a week after the Slipknot, the latest Slipknot example. Come on, man. And the drummer, too. And the drummer. Well, how many times have we talked about drummers in 38 and premature death? Drummer from Slipknot, the 38, warning band, dies on the 38 date numerology as a warm-up for this on August 3rd. So, and again, there's probably a lot more people worldwide that got it yesterday. These are the deaths I caught wind of. But deaths in 2021 August 3rd. So here's deaths on August 3rd so far on Wikipedia. An 83-year-old died. Somebody should look into that. I mean, that's kind of interesting. 83 on 8/3. Died 14 days before his upcoming birthday. Dead is 14. End is 14. But I'm sure there's a 1 in 365 chance you're going to die on August 3rd. There's a 1 in 182 chance that you're going to die on August 3rd or March 8th. So you have about a 0.5% chance of dying in a year on either of these dates that are just straight up associated with death. Some people are organically going to die on these days. That's just a fact of life. But, because again, do it mathematically. Let's say that yesterday in the world, how many people die on an average day? I mean, it's got to be a lot. Let's just do a lesser number. Let's just say that 10,000 people died in a day, right? And because there's a 0.5% chance that you're going to die on one of the 3/8 dates, that means out of those 10,000 deaths, you give those 0.5% odds. So how many out of that group? I mean, all of them died on that day, but they had only that percentage chance. So within that group, there could also be, a decent percentage of deaths that were not organic. You know what I mean? I don't know if I explained that clearly enough, but I think you get the point I'm making. So that Kelly Hand's in here. Yeah, I just see like a London politician dead at 74. I mean, that's suspicious to me. London is, again, just in the most simple cipher. London, English, Gematria, killing. They're all 74. I mean, my latest book, I start off the long example of 74 and how 3 of the first presidents died on 7/4. I've learned even more about that. Now, why that is the case. Their last name is Lynch. They're born on 2/01. Here, let's just see. What is that? January 20th. I guess it'd be 195 days later, right? I'm not sure what the meaning of that is, but I get dying on 8/3. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, it's 195 days later. If you count the span, it's also a span at 28 weeks, kills 28. But again, just dead at 74 on August 3rd, just with the two classic ciphers, we talked about that pattern from the beginning too, killing 74 and 38. So yeah, a lot of these, I like if I have an agency, like let's say I'm a billionaire and I figured this out, and all of a sudden my life passion had become like solving these murders for real, and I had all these resources instead of trying to like fly people to space. I'd be like, you know what? Let's build a real agency and go out and really solve these crimes. Let's get to the scene of the crime, where the death happened. Let's talk to people and see what really happened. I know we'd get these Jesuits even more. But yeah, this death at 74 is a London politician on 83. Something's, again, the song Murder by Numbers is by the British band The Police. And in the lyrics, killing is the sport of the elected. And just the way that even fits in. Elections got the 83-38 like murder, right? You see how murder's got the 38 in it, killing's got the 38-43, elections got the 83-38 and 43. Elections got 133 in it, like government and president and White House. All these things are so cleverly thought out. But yeah, and I'm sure even without, being like Batman with all the resources, I mean, we could still do this research even further and find out more about it. But I'm just saying this is also a way to look into things. You can go to what's nice about Wikipedia is they will record a lot of deaths from a date in a quick list. And I'm sure a lot of these deserve, more research. So, 41-year-old athlete. Was he a football player? He was a football player. Again, how many times have we talked about football players in 83 dying, Football 83, murder 83, dead on 8/3. So, that's pretty young to die for an athlete, 41. He died right after his birthday. July 27th. Died 7 days after his birthday. Year of sevens, man. On Brady's birthday. After Brady won his 7th Super Bowl. Again, New World Order, man. Brady won the Super Bowl at age 41. Super Bowl's 41. He moved, this could have been fateful. He moved from Asante Kotoko to All Stars FC on January 4th, 2008. See, what I see in that right away is it's 4/1 like 41, like the age he died at, and then that's 13 years ago. 41's the 13th prime. So I don't know enough about any of these teams or these leagues, but yeah, footballer dead on 8/3 at 4/1. What did he die from? Oh wow! Thanks for the. Here, let's see if he has an article on him. We didn't even do his name, Gematria. His name equals 56. His name equals 56. Go figure, you guys. Man, haven't been talking about that all year. You know what? The biggest 56 sick joke to me is just how the Houdini rapper, died at age 56, whose name equaled 56, and we're in time of coronavirus 56. And then shortly after that, Snoop Dogg does the commercial for Corona beer with his song playing in the background. And the theme is, like share a Corona with your friends. It's like, come on, man. Right after he died at 56, when we know the meaning of this. And again, who's still alive that was next to Tupac? Dr. Dre? Anybody else? I guess the Dog Pound's still alive. And by the way, that's the other thing, too, about the people we worship and people get idolized. In terms of rappers, like, is there anybody in the world that thinks Snoop Dogg's a better rapper than his cousin Corrupt? No. I don't think anybody would ever... I don't even think Snoop Dogg would say that he's a better rapper than... Why isn't his cousin way more famous? You know what I mean? Like, why is Snoop Dogg so famous? What did he do? What did he do? In terms of like creativity and I mean, Snoop Dogg has to make up words to rhyme. I mean, that's who Snoop Dogg is. He has to make up words to rhyme. Corrupt doesn't have to make up words to rhyme. Corrupt is super clever. And as someone who knows a thing or two about hip hop music, people would always say that, there's no lyrics coming out of the West in the 90s. That's all East Coast. But, rappers like Corrupt are pretty clever rapper, man. Always. He's more of a... Again, I'm not, the whole rap thing, like I can appreciate just like cleverness, but just like also what you're rhyming about, like that's the thing about those guys though, like they're not deep, they're rhyming about like status and women and gang banging and all this, but yeah, so but still, you can still see if a guy's clever or not. Anyway, getting off topic, but yeah, the 56th thing and how many there's been, and just even another one today, the woman from Detroit, Simone Biles on. A million others, man. I mean, we've just been talking about it left and right all year. So. Yeah, I think we hit all the notes, man. I think we hit all the notes. If you missed yesterday's videos, again, make sure you click on the channel and getting caught up with all the videos. Most people don't get notifications. I've been putting out a lot of content lately, GematriaEffectNews and sports. Had to make up for lost time because the time is now. So I think I'm going to take a break and eat something. That's one thing I have not done yet today is eat something. It's been grinding, but yeah, I really wish people would stop dismissing this work. I mean... Look at all the people in the world that potentially could have been saved. Probably a lot more than this, too. These are just the people that made it to Wikipedia. Is this football as well? What's this sport? This is different. Maybe this is indoor football. Oh, yeah, it is. Hard court indoor football. So it's like basketball meets football. Yeah, that's still... He died premature, too, on an 8/3. His sport's not too far off from football. He died 20 days before his birthday. Death 20 and 38. Man. Yeah, I imagine that these people didn't die naturally, you guys. Same stuff we know, it goes on like clockwork. This cabal that controls the show, that makes people famous and gives them more money than they'd have otherwise, it seems like they think they own your life if they do that for you. So, yeah, thank you to all the people sharing the work. Um, I think it is reaching some people. It's not reaching enough, but more and more people share, the more and more people it'll reach. So let me see before I go if there's anything else we need to comment on today. CNN. Look at CNN's top story right now. Think you don't want a vaccine? Think again. Dr. Sanjay Gupta takes on the top reasons people give for refusing a shot. Oh, okay. Here, all right. You know what? Just for fun, as tragic as this might be, and I'm going to read this article. I'm definitely not going to watch his 22-minute and 55-second video. I'm sure that is horrible, but hold on. We're going to read this article, but I mean, just to make the point one more time about 56. Do you remember when this clown got his vaccine, December 18th, 2020? I do. Let me see. That was the doctor who gave it to him. Here it is, right here. Dr. Sanjay Gupta on live TV. It was December 18th, 2020. He got the vaccine, and his birthday is October 23rd, and from his birthday to the day he got the vaccine was 56 days later. You know, coronavirus 56. When you run it backwards, it's 70. He got it December 18th, 2020. A date was 70 numerology. Sanjay and Gupta are 70. And again, how anyone can take this clown seriously is just, I mean, all you can explain, the only way to explain it is like some kind of hypnosis mind control. This is a guy who's been on TV for a decade, standing in swamps in Florida, talking about how we could be on the verge of a horrible outbreak, a epidemic, a pandemic, just year after year, man, year after year. And it's like, and he's like, it could be coming from right here in this swamp. It's like, well, wait a minute, then what the fuck are you doing in the swamp if this is what we should all be afraid of, even out here in the Pacific Northwest tonight? You know? Just nonstop obvious bullshit. Like, okay, if this story's so serious, he's not standing there then. That wouldn't make any sense. That'd be totally irresponsible. What are you trying to be, patient zero? You know, but again, this guy's nothing but a clown who goes out every day and reads a script like the rest of the clowns on TV, and all by the same code. And how many times? 5670. Yeah, I don't know why I don't have it up there, but COVID vaccine is 5670. And remember, you guys, we just hit the 70% milestone 2 days ago on the 214th day of the year, right? COVID vaccine 214. The COVID couple. Again, Melinda Gates and Bill, they split on the 214th day of the year once they hit their 70% goal. You know, they each made out with a clean $76 billion. And when Bill Gates got out of computers and when he got into vaccines, remember back then he was worth about $30 billion when he got in the vaccine business. Now he was up to over 150 some billion last year, but now he had to split it with Melinda, so it's 76. And we've talked about how he's a skull and bones Jesuit pawn. Last year his dad died 322 days after his birthday. Now him and his wife split the 76 billion. Skull and Bones. The last Skull and Bones president, George W. Bush, birthday July 6th, 7/6, the 187th day of the year, George W. Bush. George Washington, 187, like Washington, D.C., like Society of Jesus. But, here, let's just try reading it. Let's try. Okay, these are in the words of old Sanjay, the man of nothing but honor and integrity. Honor and integrity. Sure, he doesn't do it for the cushy multi-million-dollar salary and the fame and recognition. Being idolized by the brain-dead masses. CNN, I still remember the feeling I had on December 13, 2020, the date the first vaccines rolled out of the Pfizer facility in Michigan, destined for hospitals and vaccination centers in every state in the country. Typically, reserve scientists described it as the medical moonshot, we had all been waiting for. And you guys remember the moon landing on the 201st day of the year, Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, 201, the number of the Jesuits behind this every inch of the way. William Henry Gates 201, one of the main sponsors. 201 days after his birthday, we got the details about him having the affair while married to Melinda. The medical moonshot we had all been waiting for, a powerful tool against the new virus that had paralyzed the world for almost a year. Oh yeah, man, I was fucking paralyzed. Let me tell you, every day I live my life laughing at this bullshit and getting my videos taken down for proving why it was a joke. I was paralyzed. I was looking at people who looked paralyzed. They were staring at me like why I didn't have a mask on while they all did. And I was like, you guys, I'm in here every day, totally healthy. I even stopped washing my hands. I'm feeling so good. The new virus that had paralyzed the world, the new virus for the new world order. It had paralyzed the world for almost a year. Man, that is so dramatic. Those first doses shipped out across America were supposed to signal the next phase of this pandemic, and it felt as if the whole country could soon let out a collective sigh of relief. Oh, yeah. As I waited to get my first shot, he had to wait until 56 days after his birthday. That was just a coincidence. He had to wait. I remember thinking how completely ordinary and how completely extraordinary it was all at the same time. Here was a snippet of a messenger RNA. From the virus, stick it in me. Delicately wrapped in a little lipid envelope and delivered to each of our bodies via 2 shots. Ooh, man. Now you know what Sanjay's wife gets to deal with. 2 pumps and he's done. Little needle. Spaced a few weeks apart. This mRNA would prompt each of us to manufacture a little piece of the coronavirus, the spike protein, which would in turn prompt our immune system for body's defense mechanism. I can really follow at this 3rd grade reading level. To create antibodies and other immune cells in response. Okay, thanks, Sanjay. I wonder if he was writing it in the middle of the field where the next Zika or Ebola, case could show up. Could just see him working there. For the sake of the nation, if somebody's going to get it first, it's going to be me. While the vaccines seem to be created within months, whereas they normally take years, the technology behind this vaccine was actually the culmination of a couple of decades of work by some of the most brilliant minds in science and medicine. How many kills do they have on their rap sheet? Are these like top snipers? Again, they must be talking about Pfizer, right? Pfizer, who's never made a vaccine before, or was it Moderna, Pfizer, the most sued company in the history of the world for wrongful death and injury from their medicine, or is it Moderna, who's never made a vaccine before? I mean, who are these brilliant minds who must have so much confidence in their product that they get to sit behind a corporation that's been given immunity by a government in case anything goes wrong with their rushed-out vaccine? These people are so brilliant. And they want to have their medicine out there that supposedly needs to save the world from the nearly 100% survivable illness. Let's let them, bear the brunt if they're wrong. Because to me, it doesn't even seem like there needed to be any fuss about any of this shit. The country got locked down because an 80-year-old died in a nursing home? Don't tell me that's not how it happened, because that's exactly how it happened. We got deaths in nursing homes. Lock it down. The orange Oompa Loompa that everyone thinks it would have been different if he won re-election. It's like, wow, you talk about some people that have no critical thinking skills. Did this whole shit not go down while he was president? Did he not march along with it? Rush out the vaccine with warp speed? Emergency declaration on Friday the 13th just happened to be the day with the 56-date numerology? I mean, come on. But hold on, where are we? These most brilliant minds in science and medicine. It quickly became clear the vaccines worked extraordinarily. Haven't we already used that word? I mean, come on, man. Are you a 3rd grader? We already used that word too many times. Extraordinarily well and have the potential to truly revolutionize medicine beyond this pandemic. Yeah. I kept reflecting how this moment could be a turning point, the beginning of the end of the pandemic. You guys, maybe they realize what the real pandemic is, and that is a society of fucking fat slobs and losers who aren't worth a fucking shit. And maybe that's what we're near the end of, is them. Let's have a moment of silence for that thought. I kept reflecting how this moment could be a turning point, the beginning of the end of the pandemic, light at the end of a very long, devastating tunnel. They say life's all about perspective. The more things change, the more they stay the same. 8 months ago, while I was waiting for my turn to get the shot, the headlines were about the surging numbers of cases. Is that what they are every day? Hospitals buckling under pressure, while Bill Gates poses in his latest photo shoot with a book about lying and statistics. It's just like, oh my God, man. Hospitals buckling under pressure, dire predictions for more of the same in the months to come, and the politics of mask wearing. Today, I'm heartbroken to read the same headlines, case numbers climbing, hospitals in some places inundated, why can I not say that word? Inundated with patients, predictions of the worst is yet to come, and cries against mask mandates. And this time, vaccine mandates too. Have you guys turned on CNN recently and seen the people that they're getting on there? If you want to see just like the worst non-believable acting, watch an episode of Anderson Cooper 360. 2 days ago, there was this woman on there that was like, I just want to thank God for helping us develop these miracle vaccines that are saving so many. I was like, oh my God, talk about trying to appeal to the biggest religious sheep. Okay, I heard God save. Okay. All right, I was on the fence, but now I'm glad I tuned in tonight. I know a lot of people, though, that are of the spiritual community aren't going to be broken that easily, but there are some that will. And so you had her on, and then last night I turned on, and there was a black woman on there. If it wasn't Anderson Cooper 360 last night, it was the show before his. But there was a black woman on there last night, and she goes, okay, I just want to start by saying that my daughter was very against the vaccine and didn't get one, and she just died. And she thought, like, like there wasn't enough research. And, now she's not here to tell about it. And I was like, looks like this mom must have hated her fucking daughter. And, I mean, just really what you sound like is a total fraud actor who, I just want to make sure, it was already real clear from the way they brought it in, but then she had to make it extra clear that her daughter was real against the vaccine and now she died from COVID. I was like, what about this woman's story feels believable? I mean, you're a sociopath as a mom. Are we sure you didn't murder your daughter the way you're talking about it? And again, people like this, they really do make me the most sick, man. I mean, it's just like, listen, the media is already targeting your community. You're going to go out and sell out your own community for your own ass? People of all races do this, but I just feel like, maybe this sounds racist, but I feel like if you're black, you should have more resistance to doing that for the media than maybe people of other races, because you're the most targeted race. You're really going to go on that media and take some extra money to go on there and sell out your, I mean, it's just, I guess maybe it shouldn't even matter, but I mean, that's just kind of the way I see it. I just like, okay, how are you gonna conspire and take money from the media that's actively been a weapon going after you, and now you're gonna go out and participate in the agenda? There'll never be another Tuskegee, Event 201, coronavirus pandemic simulation. Next thing you know, they're telling you before the vaccines, they've been saying it before the vaccines were even here, when they come out, if you're black, you got to definitely get it. You need it the most. Really? Why is that? I don't think anybody has any real evidence for why that is. That's just something everybody said, from Joe Biden to Sanjay Gupta. Let's get back to his article. Today, he's heartbroken because the cases are climbing. I want to be clear. This was not inevitable. Even without vaccines, the country became far sicker than it should have. Did it? Where? Where is any evidence that it became far sicker? You guys reported there were no flu cases last year. again, the people who died are the sick and the elderly, like they do every year. Just normally it's called pneumonia. Now they call it COVID pneumonia. I've been seeing that on TV lately. COVID pneumonia. I'm like, are they fucking kidding me, man? I mean, COVID has all the symptoms of pneumonia. They're going to call it COVID pneumonia now? Such a joke. But he says we're far sicker than we should have been. The vaccines were supposed to wrap us with near impenetrable armor and provide longer-lasting protection. Of course, armor only works if you wear it, and the same is true of vaccines. Well, your news network right now is reporting that there's no evidence that it's even protecting against the new variants. Where the fuck did all these new variants come from? Is there something about people getting injected, with a vaccine, and then somehow if they get sick, then a new variant comes out? Is that how it works? It seems like that's how it could work. Where do new variants of the flu come from each year? There's always new variants. Didn't we predict this over a year and a half ago that they'd start making a COVID shot and probably have to be something you have to get each year, like a new flu shot? I mean, this is exactly what we said. But, yeah, where's any evidence that the vaccine, I mean, if it's armor and it works when you wear it, then why do you have to put your mask back on? You know what I mean? The whole time they've been doing this, they're like telling you two different stories at once, but there's one that they make it seem more like you should be doing. You should be getting the vaccine, even though there's all these things that are, well, does it necessarily work? This person tested positive after getting it. This person died. This person had a stroke. I mean, they've been putting out all these kind of stories in the mainstream. Celebrities, Sugar Ray, he died. He supposedly just gotten the vaccine right before that. Sugar Ray Leonard, the boxer. Okay, so he calls it armor. He said it only works if people wear it, but then again, the people who are wearing it, they're having to go out and behave like everyone else right now. So, where's the logic in his argument? I don't see how he could possibly win the case. If it's armor, then fucking, why do you need a mask? Just worry about me who doesn't have it. I'm not worried at all. Go out there all day. Last time I got sick was after I got a flu shot. I never got one again. One and done. And I didn't even want it. And I wish I never had. I let somebody who I thought was smarter than me talk me into it. Because she was older than me. And she had she was in the, I can't remember if she was an actual doctor, but she had some sort of medical training. She worked there at the group home in the medical section. And she was acting like I was silly for not getting the flu shot because it was free at the workplace. And it was the first time I'd ever worked in a place where they brought in a flu shot. And it was just right there. Because I rejected it and everybody else got it. And then she talked to me for a while. She's just like, why would you reject it? It's free. We brought it to you. She said, you've never worked in a place like this. And it wasn't long after I got that shot, I got sick, and I hardly ever get sick. I was just like, I'm never getting a flu shot again, man. I knew I didn't need the flu shot. And I was sick, man. I'd never been that sick, too. I mean, I got real sick. I had I had a headache I could not get rid of. I couldn't sleep. Oh, my God. And I thought, flu shot, man. Yeah, that's what I know about shots and armor. Far from it. Felt like I was about to die. Literally. If you look at the map, the 5 states with the highest percentage of new cases in the U.S. are Florida, Texas, California, Louisiana, and Georgia. Almost 1 in every 5 new cases of coronavirus. 19.2%, I'm sure that number came from somewhere, I don't recognize it right now, are from Florida alone. Yet the state only has, and then I love the 6.5%. I just love how they do that. I mean, how many times have we talked about 65 in Florida in the pandemic? Let me type in Florida and pandemic. See how in the most simple cipher, they're both 65? Florida and pandemic, 65. Next most peer, 38. Reverse alphabetical order of the rules of Numari, 43. 201 rituals in Florida back-to-back years where DeSantis got to be the bad guy locking down the state 201 days from his birthday, then going against the mask mandates, I think it was this year, 201 days from his birthday. But again, it's just because he's a puppet. He's just helping create the narratives. And again, puppet on strings DeSantis. Same with all these state governors. It's the Jesuit cabal running it all. But yeah, they got to go Florida and then 6.5%. I mean, these stats are all just straight bullshit. And, 19% COVID-19, the 19-year cycles. There's probably something to the 192 I'm overlooking. Yet the state only has 6.5% of the U.S. population. All of those states, except California, have fewer than 50% of their populations vaccinated. You know what? I don't even want to read anymore. It's all bullshit. Here's another stat. You're going to have areas where the vaccine rate is high, where more than 70% of the population. Okay, yeah, we know, especially coming from Gupta, got his vaccine by the numbers. Yeah, but again, this guy is just I want to know if he's even a real doctor. Is he even a real doctor, or is he a television actor? Hold on, what state does he had to get a 47th in here? The vaccination rate is picking up even in states where residents have been more reluctant to get vaccinated. For example, Louisiana, where just 37% of the population is fully vaccinated, and which had the most new cases per capita last week, saw daily vaccinations rates rise 111%. Vaccination equals 111, right? When you times it by 6, Sumerian gematria is 666. Compared to 3 weeks ago, the state ranks 47th. Alabama's got a Jesuit university. I guess that was just where they had to get their 47 in there. So, what is not minuscule is the number of deaths caused by COVID-19, more than 4.2 million deaths worldwide. Oh, and again, this is so at the time of his big plea for why we all need to get vaccinated and wear our armor, there's 4.2 million deaths, right? I'm sure. Just like how the vaccine went live on Bill Gates' 42nd day of his age, and again, we know all the vaccine 42 rituals, but got to be 4.2 million deaths. And man, so many of those could have been saved if we just locked down even more and gave up even more of our rights and freedoms and bent over for Pfizer's vaccine. At least we've been able to withstand the anal swab of China so far. Remember, we said that was coming before it even happened anywhere in the world. We said, no doubt, that's where this gang's going. Toilet paper was the clue. Catholic Church always got one aim. So, yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I do need to eat some food, but there's just so many things to talk about. So, have a good rest of your day, everyone. And until next time, Truth Seeker.